How's it going, everyone? Mad Spartan here, and today I'm bringing you another war video. It is war number 2. We are up against Kenobi, which I kind of know. I mean, they're Jedi Knights, but like the tag Kenobi I actually recognize. The defense was looking pretty good. Definitely not as good as last wars, but it was definitely a little tricky to find like who I was going to take and all that. I am taking the Conflictor Killmonger again, as well as the Aspect of Evolution Vision. First up, they do have an Odin. It's a rank 1, 7-star, so nothing crazy. I did rank 5 and also ascend my Wiccan for this war. The only reason why I did that was because I know that there was probably going to be some instances where I was blocking Vision Arcus's SP2, and if you guys don't know, Wiccan has to be awake to be able to block unblockables from Cosmics. So I was like definitely afraid of doing that. So instead of ranking up my 7-star who isn't awake, I actually ranked up my 6-star who's like, I think he was like 640, and I gave him I think like 50 stones or something like that. So he is ascended and fully ready to go. It's kind of upsetting that I wasn't able to rank up the 7-star, but I definitely did not want to get like slammed by Vision Arcus's SP2s. So first up, though, we do have an Odin. There's not really much to the fight. I mean, Wiccan does get buffs, so he's able to parry Odin freely. What I have to prioritize, especially on Odin, is to get some neutralizers on him. So at least I could stop some of the buffs that are coming in, and also do my other spells to keep that neutralized pause as much as possible, as well as getting the prowesses to stop his indestructible from coming in, which is it's just a bunch of stuff. So it's a lot to watch out for. The meta's kind of annoying. I mean, the good thing is with tactic attackers, when you parry, you do get 2 prowesses. So if I parry Odin's special, I'll get 2 prowesses. So it either takes off 2 indestructibles or just gives me 2 prowesses. And just like that, Odin is done. Real easy fight, nothing crazy. I am pretty heavily boosted because I plan to take actually all my fights in one shot. So I took this right in the beginning of war and kind of finished. But I didn't want to voice over anything until it was certain that I was not taking the Bullseye boss. There's a little story with that. I didn't really, I wasn't really confident to take it, but if I had to, I was going to. Next up, we do have Chavez. It does have Sadist, so they get 50% attack for every debuff, but the good thing is Titania's debuffs don't last long. They pretty much just last the duration of her combo. So I'm never going to be affected by the 50% attack increase for each debuff. Even with the SP3, I mean, she has Haymaker during it, so any type of damage is completely negated by the indestructible of the Haymaker. So there actually is no bad thing from this node, especially with Titania. I guess if you were to use, like, I know like Quicksilver would be an issue with this, but they're not immune to buff. So I guess maybe the worst one would probably be Spidey 2099 wouldn't be the best for this, because all of his debuffs stay, especially if he's SIG 200. So I would say Spidey 2099 would have a tough time on that fight, just due to the fact that all of his debuffs stay, and you could have, you know, as much as 20 debuffs at a time, and that's a huge attack increase to the point where he'll probably just die from a blocked attack. So I would recommend using Titania on that, just because her debuffs don't last, and she's still just as buff immune. Next up, we do have an Atuma, who, in my head, I mean, I could have used anyone. I could have used Titania or Storm X. It really didn't matter too much. I didn't want to do Storm X, though, because I didn't want to give Atuma his stuff. Like, I didn't want to give him his concussions that make him harder and harder to deal with as he has more of them. Not to mention, I used Titania against Atuma. There really isn't anything wrong with that. As you guys can see, I'm ending my combos in mediums because I'm trying to do as much damage as possible. I mean, the fact that he starts with the concussion allows me to gain at least one Fury to start the match off, and then I can go into Haymaker, throw the Relic into the SP3, and just like that, he's going to be done. We took 5% damage from his Reverberation, or his own damage reflection, and it ended up being nothing. I mean, we kind of got lucky. I don't know how high he was awake. Usually they start with 2, and it actually is a pretty high thing. I mean, even like when he's just duped, it should be like 120% or something like that. So it's still like a pretty big awakening. So we got fairly lucky there. And next up, we do have EMP Hulkling. I'm not really sure what their idea was for my path. I think they kind of just threw things together. I'm not really sure if they're pushing this season. It just doesn't look like it. Just from like how most of the 7-stars are rank 1s, and the placements aren't great. So I'm just assuming they're just not trying this season, but you know, maybe they are and they're just trying to figure things out as well. But next up we do have EMP Hulkling. I've taken this fight before with Titania. The trick is to be super aggressive to the point where he's not gaining his cosmic stuff. So just as you guys can see here, I can keep hitting him and he's not going to be gaining any buffs. It's just a matter of staying as aggressive as possible. Like as you can see, he does have 4 cosmic things, so just enough to gain the indestructible. But if I stay in his face, throw the relic here to kind of maintain aggression and pretty much just keep going. We don't want him to throw the SP1. I mean, I'm not going to purposely be holding block to bait the SP2 out, because that's just out of control, you know, all the damage I'm going to get. So I'm pretty much just letting him do his thing. I mean, we were getting fairly lucky in the beginning of the game by, he just kept throwing the SP2s and he was really like favorable for that. Jeez, I'm just dying here. He's going to throw this SP2. I'm going to be kind of just backing up to the SP3. I wanted to get rid of the SP2 just in case it didn't kill, you know. So I end up throwing the SP3 here. He should be dead just from the SP3 itself. I think maybe he'll last a little bit and then the burst will kill him. And just like that, he is done. It was pretty good. I think we reversed the regen is what killed him, but either way, he was going to go down, you know. Next up, we do have Power Snack Onslaught, which I did take last war, and as I explained in that war, Titania is the, I mean, I don't know if anyone's like the perfect counter. I mean, I believe her to be, because she is buff immune, so there is no Power Snack, and also, if you're throwing a special while the Power Sting is on you, or even throwing the SP3 when you have the Power Sting on you, your Haymaker comes out first before the Power Sting takes effect. So if I'm holding 3 bars and I have a Power Sting on me and I throw the SP3, nothing actually happens. It'll probably just say Power Sting and then that'll be it. It won't end up actually doing anything. So I actually had to, I wanted to take everything all in one shot, but when I got to, I mean, you guys just see it as one thing, but when I got to the Onslaught, I actually backed out to practice the decks again, just to, you know, freshen up on it. I would hate to get hit by it, you know. I think I end up messing up one time again in this one, but I'm not entirely sure. As you can see, I did go for an intercept there, and as I said in the last video, I don't like to attempt to come in after his SP1, kind of like with like Iron Man Infinity War, where you can kind of just rush in after a few seconds. Because like I said, when I was dueling him, he had a different effect every time. He sometimes parried me, other times he dashed back and threw a jab, you know, other times he actually went in for an intercept and I was able to land it, but like it was different every single time. And I would hate to get parried and get hit with a 5-hit combo. So I pretty much just play the safe bet. I either let him come in or I hold heavy to bait out the... I hold block to bait out the heavy or something like that. And as you guys can see, I did get hit there, which kind of sucked. And I was kind of just all over the place. Like, that was a really late dex that I happened to be given. I definitely did not see myself getting... like dexing that at all. And the good thing is his neuroshocks really aren't stacking up very high, and if they do happen to, the Power Sting actually willpower regens us pretty fast. I am going to be holding this SP3 just until, you know, I feel comfortable that he's going to die from it. He's getting very aggressive, and I was a little, you know, caught off guard that I got hit there. It happened again last attempt. He walks up and just hits me with a 5-hit combo, and I'm not expecting it. We do have Haymaker ready. I'm going to try to kind of just attack him as fast as possible, use the relic to extend the combo, and then combo into SP3, and hope that he just goes down from that. He is at 18% health. The SP3 in its own will take down a crap ton. And just like that, he's going to be done. 3% health, 1 medium, he's done. Even if he threw the SP3, nothing would have happened. I'm not even familiar with what it does. But I had Haymaker, so it wouldn't have mattered. Now, next up is Vision Arcus. It was a pretty tricky fight. I do pop an invulnerability boost here because I don't want there to ever be an instance where I have to get hit with the SP2 when I don't have the shield up. So with this fight, there is a lot to watch out for. It did catch me off guard the first time, but I did end up catching it, you know, better later on. So what I'm going to start off with is getting the shield spell so I can block future SP2s, and then I'm going to get a neutralize on there to stop future power gains. Now I'm going to try to bait out this SP1 so I can throw the heavy, but I don't throw the heavy here. I actually was very upset about that. I think it kind of just screwed everything. Now the neutralize fell off, which sucked, but I'm going to hit him with a heavy here to steal his power gain. If you guys don't know, Wiccan's heavy spell steals power gains and then makes like your passive power gain 5% more effective, but the only thing that I'm confused about is he doesn't have passive power gain, so I'm not really sure what, or maybe the heavy spell itself gives you passive power gain, maybe. So now, where I screwed up here was I ended up getting in like a constant like cycle of blocking SP2s, and because of the global, it just makes it so I just get hit. And look, he's building up. He's going to be building up his power. We're going to try to get rid of all these power gains, but it's just kind of, I'm just kind of panicking here. He's gaining all that power from the SP2s. I got to make sure I get the indestructibles off. I got to keep the neutralize on. I got to hit heavies to get rid of his power gain, and it's not looking well for me. I keep blocking, and unfortunately, I do end up going down here. I was very upset about it, but actually, to be honest, I really wasn't that upset about it. I died, but instead of getting upset, I wanted to analyze what happened and kind of what I did wrong there. And I realized what I did wrong was I wasn't playing aggressive enough. There is a lot to watch out for, yes, but I should have been more aggressive. Like, for example, in the beginning, I should have hit him with the heavy in that first SP1 to, kind of keep everything going. I did cash in his tenacity, so I was able to apply the neutralize. I am going to be hitting him to try to bait out the SP1, hit him with a heavy. So now that I have the neutralize paused, he has no power gain, and I still have the fire spell, so I can pause everything one more time. I'm going to be hitting him with the fire spell and then hit him with an SP2 later on to keep it paused for a longer duration. And then just like that, he did happen to have an indestructible, which was tough. It was annoying, but I wanted to make sure that everything stays paused. I did parry the SP1 here like a boss, and then it made it so that I was able to cancel out any indestructibles, and just like that, that's what sucks so much. I mean, I did learn from the first fight, and we'll never die to that again, but the first fight literally lasted, I think it was like 2 minutes total, and I ended up dying, but the second fight lasted 45 seconds, and I just completely nuked him because you need to prioritize the neutralize. You need to get rid of that first power gain, and then, keep your other 2 spells up to keep that neutralize paused. And then just kind of maintain control of the fight the whole time and parry SP1s, parry SP2s if he gets to it. And just like that, that should be full control. I wasn't too upset that I died to that, but I definitely was happy that I learned something from it, which I think is the most important part about any fight. It's not really the fact that you died, it's when those people die and don't know why they died or, how to counter it for next time. Now, next up is the notorious Killmonger fight that I got lucky on. It's actually, in my head, I was like, oh, this is going to be easier than last Wars due to the fact that, one, he's actually less awake. I think he was like SIG 40, and in the last war, he was SIG 140. So it was definitely a huge difference, and I was more heavily boosted this war because I took everything in one shot than last war when I just kind of popped light boosts just to see if I can take it. And as you guys saw in the beginning, I did use the regen boost because I wanted to make sure that I heal back some of the reverberation, and also, when you're holding block to bait out the heavy and all that. Now, he does have 3 indestructibles here. The good news is, in just a blocked string, you can gain 3 prowesses, and also, in parrying, you get 2, but it's very hard to parry. Even with Storm's ability to passively stun them, it's kind of not what we're looking for. It's more of the fact that it does have conflictor. Whether I cash it in to stun him or not, I am going to be giving him a decent amount of power. So we actually don't want to do that. I'm trying to throw this SP2 when I have 3 passive prowesses because it stops conflictor. As you guys can see, it does make it so that the enemy can't purify. There is one point in the fight where I don't do that. And now, in my head, as soon as I threw that SP2, I kind of realized that we're kind of neck and neck, which was kind of weird because I was not neck and neck with the other Killmonger. I kind of just, once I threw like that first SP2, I was kind of in full control of the fight. And with this, it seems like Killmonger and I are kind of sharing the same life bar. I couldn't really understand why that was happening. I think maybe it was due to the fact that his reverberation might have been kicking in when he had more meter, so the damage back was a lot more. I'd have to watch the second fight and the first fight kind of back to back to see, but I was kind of confused. And as you can see, we're kind of in a tough spot here. We had to call in the relic to make it so that he gets SP2. I didn't want to hit him too much because the reverberation and just kind of, I need to get rid of those indestructibles from the global itself. I'm trying to throw the SP2 when I have 3. It's kind of tricky due to the fact that he's kind of aggressive. You know, you have to wait for him to dash back and then immediately dash in. But now that he has a bar, I can't really do anything. I'm going to be trying to bait the heavy here. He didn't end up doing, just dash back. And I got a nice intercept. He does end up throwing the SP2. The bad part about that is if you hit his block when he has the SP2 indestructibles, it ends up cashing in those first and then the other ones. And it was kind of annoying because I really wanted to throw this SP2 when I had 3 prowesses. So I ended up just going for it and let Conflictor take the first shock. Like I said in the last video, I already know it's not going to give him 3, but I actually had to get a little more aggressive here because I'm kind of getting worried here. I mean, yeah, he's at 12% health, but a big thing is, you know, I believe that this fight can change in any second. It does have, when you do this, it does have deja vu. So when you do the same attack twice, he gets a prowess, which isn't a big deal, but another node, when he gets a prowess, he ends up getting a block penetration. It's like a 60% block penetration. So another reason why Storm is so good for this fight is because she glances. But the downside is Storm X doesn't have a lot of health. So if she doesn't glance those hits, she's going to be taking a lot of health away. And she is 7-star rank 3, but you know, she doesn't have the biggest health pool. So she's still going to be taking definitely a heavy amount. Now I wanted to end the fight right there with an SP1, but I wanted to make sure that I have enough to kill him in it because I don't want him to automatically get up and then throw his SP1 to kill me. So I do another 5-hit combo and throw my SP2, and just like that, he is done. There was 46 seconds left in that fight, so it didn't end up going as smooth as the last one, which I just can't seem to understand why. I think it had a lot to do with the fact that I was throwing more SP1s in this attempt than I think I ended up throwing maybe 3 or 4 SP2s in the last attempt and ended up killing them. And with like 1 SP1. And I think with this attempt, I ended up throwing, I think 3 SP2s and like 3 SP1s. So it ended up being a whole different type of rotation. So I think I'm going to lean more towards the first attempt, where I'm only going to be really throwing SP2s. The only time I'm going to throw an SP1 is when the SP1 gives him 2 bars. There is no downside in throwing the SP2 because it doesn't do debuffs, so I don't have to worry about Conflictor, and it's a whole thing with that. And it can crit for, you know, it can crit for 20k on each hit, so she just hits like a truck, and it really is just amazing. I haven't checked the war in a while, but last time I checked, we were winning. I'll give you guys an update when I'm recording next war's video. By the time we're recording this, there's only a few hours left in the second war. I hope you guys are having a good time with the meta. As you guys can see in the Vision Arcus, the meta's a little tricky. It's not unplayable, as some people are saying. You know, so I guess certain fights are harder than others. But it's definitely not an unplayable thing. You know, there's a lot of characters that can counter it, and it's just overall fun. You know, it's nice to have a meta where you gotta like really like sit down, use your brain, and rank up these weird champs that you never really would. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.